This episode of the CMS Network is brought to you by our sponsor, Blackout Coffee. If you are a coffee lover, you will love what they are selling over at Blackout Coffee. Make sure you get yourself some. The only thing woke about this company is the drinker of the coffee, because it gives you quite a jolt. I am a personal fan of the Brutal Awakening Dark Roast, but everybody's a little bit different. Make sure you get what is your favorite today. Go to blackoutcoffee.com. Use the promo code CHRIA20 to save 20% on your first order. It's that simple. So one more time, blackoutcoffee.com. That is the link, or use the full link if you're going to shop around. That is scrolling on the bottom, and get yourself some of the best coffee that is out there today. blackoutcoffee.com.
Crank it up. CMS TV has got it going on as always. This is Jesse James Dupree saying, tune it up, plug it in, strap it on, and crank it up. Pa-pow!
Hey, what's up, Rock and Shock Nation? Welcome to another edition of the original hard rock, heavy metal, and horror-themed hangout program. We're coming at you from the Classic Metal Show Network. Remember to visit us on the web at rockandshockshow.com. Again, that's rockandshockshow.com. Well, as you know, over the past few weeks, we've been battling some hurricanes here in Florida, and I've also really been focusing on the Rock and Shock Show and taking it to a whole new level. And I have some updates I'm going to give you guys over the next few weeks, but I'm working on some things. So what I wanted to do today was to revisit a show that I did a few years ago with Zetro. I believe this will get you into the holiday spirit. We talk about horror flicks and a lot of other things, so I want you guys to check it out. But first, let's start with The Rock. And again, this is to get you guys into the Halloween spirit, because Halloween is right around the corner. This is Halloween with Halloween. Check it out. So I have with me today to hang out the legendary singer of Exodus, Zetro. What's up, Zet? Welcome to the program.
Dude, I'm a metal and a horror guy, so I'm your alley. I love to talk this kind of stuff, actually. It's cool. Good to be here.
Now, I've said this before, Zetro. It just seems like, if you're a fan of the heavy metal, then you're also a fan of horror. I've seen this so many times. Yes, it does go hand in hand. And we especially saw this merging of metal and horror, during the decade of decadence, that decade that rocked the 80s to the 90s, where we saw, the music and the artwork really imitating horror films. And the bond's been getting stronger and stronger. But before we talk horror today, I just want to get any updates on Tom. How's he doing?
I'm doing great. Tom, actually, we kind of all keep in touch with each other on a group text every couple of days, especially with everything with the new record coming out later this year and everything that's going on. But he sent us a picture of himself the other day, and he's received his fourth treatment out of 8, and he feels great. We're booked for Psycho Vegas on August 22nd. And Tom will be there. So he's one of the strongest guys I've ever met in my life. And I knew he'd kick the shit out of this. I knew it. You know what I mean? And he's great attitude. Everybody's behind him. And, the big C isn't necessarily a death sentence anymore. They have so many advancements in care. And his doctor's like the hugest Slayer fan. So that worked out well. So they got a team of guys on there. It's not we think we're going to beat this. It's like, no, we're going to beat this. No problem. We got you. So he's going to be great.
What can the fans do to get involved, to help him out? I know there was some pages, some GoFundMe.
Yeah, just go to Gary Holt's page, and there's a GoFundMe there. I think they're over $91,000 or $92,000 people on the fans. That's the thing about metal guys. It's like we are in a very tight-knit fraternity. Fans, members, anybody that has anything to do with the business, we all have each other's backs, kind of. I don't know if there's another genre of music that holds that true like this, because again, in metal, we only have each other. There's no outlet, there's no medium, there's no radio, really, there's no television for it. There's nowhere you can go watch your weekly metal show. It just doesn't work like that. We have YouTube, guys like you and guys like me that do shows, you know what I mean? And keep it alive, but we have each other. But with that being said, that's how come metal bands last forever, because the fans stay true, they're never, fair weather. It's not like, oh shit, I used to listen to Slayer. Yeah, I listened to them for like a summer. When have you ever heard that? You know what I mean? Right. You either love it or you don't. So that pays homage to the fans. And I think the fans, when it was time to step up. Tom is a great guy. If you're going to meet him personally, fans, doesn't matter. I've never heard a bad word out of his mouth. I've never heard a bad word about him from anyone. He knows how to act. And when you get that kind of respect from your fans and your peers, people are like willing to, come to your call. And that's what's really happening here. And it's great.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's great to hear. I'm going to put a link up on the video and also on the website, intothefire.rocks. Again, intothefire.rocks. So make sure you check it out and get involved and help support Tom. So let's talk a little horror. You and I are products of the 70s. I was very young in the 70s, but really got into the horror genre. How did it start for you? I know you have a lot of horror tattoos and things like that.
I mean, my motorcycle, I just had my Harley painted with
Did you?
all horror theme on it. I have on the fairing, I have Exorcist Linda Blair, and the other side I have the man with the sharp teeth. That's his name too, with the sharp teeth and the stone pot hat from London After Midnight. And on my tank, I have the Bride on one side, Ardith Bay, and Nosferatu. And on the other side of the tank, I have Living Dead Girl, the Wolfman, and Dracula. And then on my front fender, I have Barnabas Collins, who's like one of my heroes. I'm actually wearing shirt and tattoo. And on the back, I have Karloff's Frankenstein. And then on my rear fender, there was a horror guy in the 70s that every Friday or Saturday night showed the horror show, Creature Features, and his name was Bob Wilkins, and he had a cigar. And I have him painted ghosted in on the tank in the back. So I have everything. My house is completely decorated in horror. You come and think you've seen metal on the walls, and it's totally opposite. It's like, but I started Dark Shadows. I was born in 1964. My mother started watching that soap opera in probably 1966 or 60. It started in 1966. And I started watching it with probably 3 or 4, because I remember hiding around the corner, peeking at the TV and then pulling my head back when Barnabas showed his fangs. But that was the start. And then Creature Features, and then anything horror, even cartoons. I loved the Groovy Ghoulies. I loved any cartoon that had Scooby-Doo, anything that had monsters or any kind of monster theme to it. I wanted that toy. I wanted whatever. I just was fascinated by it.
Now, I know for me, when I was young, I loved the Saturday morning cartoons, but I also loved Land of the Lost. I mean, that was one of my favorites. And, for a little kid, it's kind of scary. You look at it now, the dinosaurs are a little cheesy, but, man, that's how it really got started for me.
I got a good story for you. The last few years, rockers do comic book conventions now. Right. And I became friends with Holly, Kathy Coleman. She's like my very good friend.
Really?
I did a comic book convention and met her, where it was her, Will, and Chaka, and they get this other guy that they work with dresses up as a sleeve stack, and you can get in a boat, take a picture with them. So I was kind of by them, and I went out to dinner with her, and we became friends. And ever since, I talk to her probably every couple of weeks. I have a real conversation with her. Yeah, she's the greatest. She lives in Vegas. She's my girl. Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. Like, so I try to tell her all the time, you don't even know. She's like, oh my God, you're like this rock star. I'm like, I ain't shit. You're Polly. I call her all the time, Polly Marshall. I go, Marshall, this is your boy. Hey, hi, honey, how are you? And she sent me a signed script from the show that she
really.
Yeah, so I keep in touch. I love all that old 70s type stuff, but to become friends with her, I tried to tell her. I remember having a soccer game, and it was at 9 or 9:30, and they showed Land of the Lost at 9 or 9:30, and I wouldn't even go to my soccer game, because back then there was no VCRs or DVRs or any of that shit.
Right.
That was it. So I stayed home to watch from the soccer game to watch it. And now, I'm friends with her, and I see Will. I'm friends with Will too. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And Chaka, he still comes around. Yep.
That's funny.
Oh, he dresses up in that little thing on his killer. It's cool. It's cool about that. That's my life, is pop culture like that. Told me that with the year that it debuted in 1974, because they ran 3 seasons, and for a child Saturday morning cartoon,
yes.
The season you were done. Usually that ran 3 seasons. She said not only in 1974 it was the #1 children's cartoon on Saturday morning, it was the #1 show on NBC that year.
Really?
I remember it was the first time you saw a dinosaur and nothing, even though they were cheesy and the acts and the whole thing, it was great. I mean, I was, again, a big fan, you know what I mean? And becoming friends with her, it was like, like I said, I've needled her for stories and stuff.
Wow.
Been really cool. And I live for that kind of stuff. I really do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got to get her on this show, man, because that's awesome.
I can ask her if she'll do it. She's really cool. And if she could Skype it, I'm sure she wouldn't. Let me ask her. Let me text her and see if she'll do it.
That'd be awesome.
She's pretty friendly and pretty open about doing those types of things.
I got to see her on Creature Features the 2 times. I believe it was 2 times that she's been on. And I know you're involved with them as well.
Friends with those guys. So that's how I kind of So I keep in touch with, I see Vincent all the time. He's a good friend of mine. I keep in touch with him. I did the theme song for the show.
Can you picture that awful creature? Can you picture that ugly creature? With Livingston and Tedjella too, and our host Vincent Landau, and he brings it to you.
I'm actually going to be as a guest in July. I think I'm booked in July, but it won't get played probably till August because he's usually 4 weeks out. But I think I'm filming it again, and because I've done it twice too. But I love it. It's cool. Yeah, no, she's really good at she's very friendly. She's very, very friendly. I love her to death.
Yeah, well, I used to watch Creature Features, and for us, it came on Saturday. It was like Saturday afternoon, but it wasn't consistent. I'd always flipped with that or Kung Fu Theater. But again, from being in the Philly area, Dr. Shock was big. Now I'm watching, of course, Creature Features, but also Svengoolie out of Chicago.
Svengoolie, I still watch him. I watch him every week.
Yeah, Svengoolie comes on at 8 o'clock on Saturdays here in Florida. Creature Features, man, I'm really into that, and I feel like that dynamic between those three with Livingston, Tangella, and Vincent, it's also real captivating, and I really enjoy watching that on Saturdays.
He has to do a show a week, and sometimes it's tough to get guests because, you're doing a show a week. And I go, honestly, I said, you don't need a guest. I go, you guys, the three of the banter that you have along with you is so awesome. You know what I mean? So it is. It's fun to watch, and I love the old school shitty movies like that. And he got his hands on some of the 70s ones lately. He's been showing like Lizzie Borden he showed recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
Trilogy of Terror recently. So he's getting those movies that, they ran one time on a Tuesday night movie, and that was it. So it's great. That's why, and I live for that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, like all the old Hammer films from the 70s. I love that with Christopher Lee.
Every Halloween, man. Every Halloween, those things. I go through my old Rolodex. Yeah, I watch them all of them. The original Frankenstein, the original Dracula. I love them all. The original Mummy. I love that movie. That's that and the Invisible Man are probably the most ruthless stories out, because when he's invisible, the first one, he just wants to kill people. You know what I mean? He at least Dracula's vampire asked you to live. Frankenstein had a deranged brain, but right. His whole thing was he's going to kill people. I like the story of the Invisible Man. Not as shocking as makeup wise. It's not, when it hits the screen, it pops or anything, but the story's ruthless. And like on my bike, I don't have the Mummy. I have Ardith Bay, who he kind of turns into from Imhotep. And that's the part that Karloff plays. He's all wrinkled and his eyes evil. I love Ardith Bay. He's one of my most very evil images that I look at when I look at horror movies and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I love the classics, man. Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, two of my favorite films. It's just the way they did it back then. I love the settings, great storyline.
Is perfect Fritz and a perfect Renfield. You know what I mean? He's perfect at those things. It's just, they casted them all very well.
Yeah, the casting was great. And even those iconic movie posters, a lot of great artwork. And those things are, they're pretty valuable today. But I want to get back to our Saturday mornings. One of those shows that I really loved was Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of.
That came on for us during the week, but I love that. I always do this imitation of the Mayans believe. He was always Leonard Nimoy was great, and that, like, one of the first times I'd ever heard about Bigfoot, because I'm a huge Bigfoot guy too.
Oh, so am I, man.
I complete anything on it, I'll watch. I mean, I'm a total believer. I think that our humans in a society, we're so arrogant. We think we've discovered everything. We don't think that something is elusive like that, or couldn't be hidden away. You know what I mean? And come on, is everybody a liar? Think about it. In fact, the stories aren't even fake anymore. There's no reason to. You'd sound like an idiot to try to make a story. You know what I mean? Because it's so, it's so, pronounced now. Everybody knows what it is,
Oh yeah, I agree with that, man. And they said the same thing about UFOs. I mean, for decades now, we're finding out that the government's been hiding it from us, and most of us, we've known that. But it's funny because we have a lot of things in common, and I believe most horror metal guys do. But I've been going back to the theater recently, and let's talk about some films. Any films out there that you really like? And I happened to see Quiet Place 2 the other night. Didn't care for it. And what's your thoughts on that movie if you saw it?
And I thought it was Quiet Place 2. People say, oh, I loved it. No, I think you loved going back to the movies is all. Actually, I'm going back for a month and a half. I think I've been to the movies 15 times in the last. I've seen pretty much everything. But I'll tell you the movie that's on Amazon that's not at the movies, that is probably one of the creepiest horror flicks I've seen lately. It's called The Witch. Have you seen it?
Yes.
That one, just the presence, everything about it is just the cinematography about it, the scenery. It's just, that is an evil movie. I thought to me, out of everything I've seen recently, that was good. Army of the Dead was good too.
I heard you talk about that on your show the other day, and I haven't seen that yet, but I'm going to watch it this week.
I thought that it was like Walter kind of it nailed it on the head. He said it's like Ocean's 11 meets zombie movie. And I liked it. It's a long one. It's 2.5 hours, but the zombies in this are a little bit hybrid. They're a little bit more like, movable, and they can think, they function, and it's kind of cool how it goes down. And this little side stories that are in on it are fucking way cool out when it comes down to it too. So I thought that was really good. I thought that the Saw movie had a good story to it. But again, somebody explained to me, they said, I like Saw when it has 20% of the cops trying to figure it out and 80% of you trying gadgets. This one was like 80% of Chris Rock trying to figure it out and 20%, but the kill gadgets that they used in this one were awesome. Well, I seen that one too. So, did you see Midsommar?
No, I haven't.
That came out like, I think a couple of years ago. It's on Netflix or one of those. That is a very, and that kind of like The Witch, very out there, trippy horror type thing going on. And the kills are very graphic.
So yeah, man, I got to check that one out. Quiet Place 2, didn't care for it at all.
I didn't care for Quiet Place 2 either. They didn't explain who those weird people were. They just, Cillian Murphy says at one point, there's those people out there ain't worth saving. And then they run into them and they don't explain any much about them. And then they're just out of the story. I think what it was John Krasinski going, we killed it on the last one. Let's get one out there real quick, because I just didn't care for the story. I didn't think it had, the best parts were the first couple of minutes when the bus was coming that they show you in the previews. It wasn't much. I thought it was okay. And if the monsters could be thwarted, I don't want to ruin anybody's thing who hasn't seen it, thwarted by the way they were thwarting them. How come the government hadn't figured that out yet? In masked ways to move them. I was just like, yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
No, I agree. And he also didn't explain how she came to that realization, to get on a boat, that they had to get onto a boat and go to this island. So a lot of things just, didn't make sense. And a lot of those dots, they weren't connecting at all.
Yeah, there was a lot of, it was just like they threw it together. And I think, and people are like, whoa, Quiet Place was killer. I'm all, no, you were just happy to be back to the movie.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I go at 11 in the morning or 12 or 1 o'clock on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
That's the best time, man.
Telling you recently, I'd seen probably since it opened April 3rd, I've seen probably 15 movies because it's what I do. And I usually am empty when I go, especially, I don't know if it's just people are paranoid or the time that I go, but I usually have the theater to myself.
What's your top five? Your top five horror films,
Ever?
Zetro's picks, ever.
All of the originals except for The Exorcist is number one. The Exorcist is the scariest horror film ever made, ever. And then it would go probably Dracula, because he's my favorite. Bella, that whole, even Peter Cushing. Dracula's always been my favorite monster, with Frankenstein close second. Probably third or fourth, I'd have to go like Texas Chainsaw, Omen, something like that, even though all of the classics are right there, the Wolfman, but just the top five, just off my head. If I had to go to a desert island, probably like that. Again, The Exorcist, with dialogue, content, makeup, premise, everything about that movie was just like, the things she says out of her mouth, her actions with the cross and the other things. I mean, coming from a 12-year-old girl, you know what I mean? It's the whole premise of it, and a demon coming in and possessing him. I was 9 when that movie came out, 1973, and I didn't even see it for another 2 years. I think it was 2 years. I saw it in October 75. Showtime was just new in the world, or in the States. I don't know if it was anywhere else, but I know Showtime was new, and we had it. And so I remember them debuting The Exorcist on a Saturday night at like 7 or 8 o'clock, and I was like riveted in front of the TV.
Hey, where'd this come from? I found it. Well, let's both play. You really don't want me to play? Captain Howdy said no. Who's Captain Howdy? You're gonna die up there.
I need reassignment.
You're the best we've got.
I think I've lost my faith.
Is there someone inside you?
Sometimes.
Who is it?
I don't know.
Is it Captain Howdy? You ever heard of exorcism?
How do you go about getting an exorcism?
I beg your pardon? I'm Damien Karras. I'd like to help you. Where's Reagan?
In here with us.
I believe we should begin. Avoid conversations with the demon. The demon is a liar. He will mix lies with the truth
Why, Dimmy?
to attack us. Do not listen.
That thing isn't my daughter.
It is he who commands you. The power of Christ compels you.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
And that was the first time I seen it. And just from the things that were said, when she becomes, possessed, and the whole thing. So it's just the premise of it, the priests, the backstory with that, just everything about it, and I just thought that it's very horrific. The head turning around when she raises, the rip on the leg just rips. It's just blood.
It's the perfect horror film, man. It really is.
So I think so. Again, because I'm so classic. I mean, Frankenstein and Dracula and The Bride and all that kind of stuff in the beginning. I won't throw any of those out of bed. But The Exorcist is, to me, is like to me, the best movie ever made in the world ever is The Godfather. The Exorcist, the Godfather of movies. And it's surprising that my favorite movie is not a horror movie, but to me, the best movie ever made was The Godfather.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that.
Again, I can't sit here and say why, because
it's hard. It really is hard.
We're talking about doing the comic book things. I did a comic book signing with the Warriors from the Warriors, and 5 of them were there in her. And one of the Warriors, it was in the thing. And so they've all got their vests on. I'd like sitting there on the table. And I walk up to him. Which guy was it? He was the guy who gets hit by the train that they push into the train. He's also, he's the guy with the beard. And I can't think of his actor's name. And I walked him up to him. I go, I love The Warriors, but I tell you what, The Thing was the scariest movie ever. And he looked at me like, dude, tell me, I go, to this day, that movie just is creepy and scary. And if you talk to real horror people, they'll tell you The Thing. Stay metal, brother, and stay horror.
This concludes our broadcast day.
We've all been there. Heartbreak, loss, and the struggle to move on. But few have laid it all bare like Chris Akin. In Little Victories, Chris shares his raw and powerful journey through a brutal divorce. Every painful moment, every emotional battle, and every step toward healing is captured in this honest, unfiltered story. If you've ever been through a tough breakup, Little Victories is the guide you need. Get your copy today at chrisakin.net or on Amazon.